Good day, folks. I'd like to welcome you and introduce to you Carol Ann Nadeau and Nora Reynolds. Both of them are very different spiritualists. Carol Ann, I'd like to ask you just to give a brief synopsis of your spirituality.
Well, having been raised Roman Catholic this lifetime, it's given me a solid foundation. But I've always questioned certain things, or I didn't feel totally that it was all that it is. So I guess just my soul's very inquisitive type of thing, and just started asking questions within myself, and then I started seeking in my late teens and early 20s, and I started, reading, thinking about things, seeing things or feeling things, reaching out to different people that I could at that time, because it was back in the early 80s. And there are things out there, but I didn't know about them. So now, many, many, many years later, I'm at a point in my life or my spiritual journey that I am out of the spiritual closet, and I do my best to walk my truth. But being a human in a spirit in a human body, at times that could be a chore.
Nora?
Well, I'd have to say I am like Carol Ann in one respect where I was raised Roman Catholic. At the time of a divorce, I felt that there was something more than being shunned by the Catholic Church because of being separated and divorced. I started looking at other religions, and I also became very close friends with Carol Ann, and this is where my spiritual journey began, because I was learning that I'm more than just Roman Catholic. I'm a spiritual being, and it has been an incredible journey of learning and of exploring who I am, and finding out that God or divine or whatever that you want to call your deity has led me to the path of where I am right now.
I know you've been close friends for many, many years, and both of you have done a tremendous amount of studying. Nora, I'll ask you first. What's your path?
My path is a Reiki master. I have been a Reiki master for a couple of years. I got my certificate through Valerie Smith at Peaceful Arts in Port Hope. And I became a Reiki master because I felt the need, and I felt this amazing energy flowing from my hands whenever we would have circle. And I started to realize that there's got to be something more to this. And then I found out that there is Reiki. And this is where I started my journey, is hopefully being able to help people to energize them and make them feel more alive and more spiritually alive. And this helps with your spiritual journey as you go along.
Carol Ann?
What was the question?
You've done a lot of studying
Yes.
over the years. Where have you focused on?
Well, for years, I'm a natural medium, or empath and intuitive and all of that. I've been like that since day one. And I, dealt in tarot cards and such. But it was recently, maybe 3 years ago, that I was searching for something that was more spiritually aligned. And what I mean by that, and when I say certain things, I put a disclaimer. It's just from my personal point of view, and I'm not saying anything bad or anything. It's just what I like to give, or what spirit comes through to me, because I'm a tool. I'm an instrument for spirit or for the divine. I want to be able to help people along their spiritual path, or to help them with their awakening, or help them with discernment and growth, and what's going on in this life, and why are things happening this way. And I just did not want to do fortune telling kind of things like, am I going to find a husband in a couple of months, or, all that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not my path. And I knew that. And so for a while there, I wasn't sure what I wanted, what was the right modality for me. So about 3 years ago, we went on a journey to another city, and had a Akashic reading done, and that opened my eyes a lot. And then through mysterious ways about spirit, they directed me to Val Smith down in Port Hope, and I had another Akashic reading done there, and I realized that's really what I was interested in, and that's where I started getting my Akashic certification through her. And I'm almost done becoming a master teacher, which will be done in October. And there's a lot of work involved, a lot of study, practice, and it's a sacred thing. And that's mostly where I am attuned to, but I also delve in other things as well, but which I bring into the records.
Okay. Thank you. I know both sections for both of you is very spiritual. There's a lot of arguments one way or the other whether there's a fraud involved or people just misleading other people. Like you say, fortune telling is the classic one. What message would you have for somebody to try and choose a medium or a person for their services?
You want to go to that one first?
Well, the biggest thing is discernment. It is learning and delving into each and every modality and the person that is doing this. Not every Reiki master, a practitioner and teacher is going to be for you. You have to look into their credentials, and honestly, I would call them on the phone and talk to them, and find out when you're talking to them. Because when you're discerning and looking for and searching for something, you need to know what's going to be right for you. Because what I might offer might not be right for you. It might be right for somebody else. So you need to look into that. I've also found that there are people that say that they are things and they're not. So make sure that you really look hard into things. When I decided to become a Reiki master, I found out about the person that was teaching me, and I looked into the things that she offers and she does. And when I met her, it was like, oh, this is the right person for me. So I listened to myself. There is an inner voice that will tell you what to listen to. And that's the most important thing, is to follow your gut and listen carefully. Caroline, what do you think?
I've had many experiences, especially when I was younger, when I was seeking about spirituality. And it's because social media is so prevalent today, and the internet is so prevalent today. There's so many people on the internet or on Facebook or on Instagram, whatever, that say they can do things, and a lot of the times they can. But you got to remember, when you are communicating or want to look for somebody to help you with things, it's an energetic exchange. And unfortunately, in this day and age, you have to have your certification, you have to have a lot of training and stuff behind you in order to be legit. I mean, you can be a legitimate or a natural medium, a natural healer, but when it comes down to it, when you have the training, and that gives you that extra security, that extra validation, whatever that word is. There are people when you're searching for a healer or someone you want to communicate with to work on your spiritual stuff, your soul work, it has to be an energetic exchange. And so if you just decide to, I'm going to go and, have a Reiki or integrated energy therapy session, or even a massage or reflexology or chakra alignment, you're opening your energies up to somebody else. And if you have not done your homework, this is like any type of thing. Like if you want to go to the doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, accountant, anything in life, you want to do your due diligence, you want to do your research to properly find the right one that's going to be working for you. And especially when you're doing a spiritual thing, you're opening yourself energetically to somebody else. And if that person has not the highest vibrations, and you can't tell, especially and when I say newbie, I mean that in the most respectful way, but if you're newbie on the path to spiritual stuff, you may not be able to discern properly or get that vibe properly. You may not. But you're opening yourself up. And again, there's free will and your guidance. You let yourself open to something, and your guidance can't really stop you. They can give you little nudges, they can whatever, but once you've opened that door, their hands are tied, per se. So you're going down this path and you're opened yourself, all your energies, and you have somebody coming in and working their stuff on you. And then sometimes it's not good, sometimes it's great. And what I'm saying, this is not to scare anybody. It's basically to educate and inform. Go on their website, if they have a website. Go on their Facebook page and see what they have said about themselves. If they have a Facebook page that basically just say they're a medium but doesn't give you any idea basically what they are, then I would question that. Have a conversation with them. Do your research. See if they have reviews. How far are they reaching? I think we're going to get into a bit more about vibrations and trickster guides and all of that down the road. But I guess that's what I'll say right now.
Okay. Lots of information there to try and assimilate. How do you, as spiritualists, how do you balance what the clientele wants versus what spirit tells you they need? Basically, their expectations. That
could be difficult and a tightrope, because I've had a few, and I know for me, it was a learning thing for me, a test for me to see how I would react and how I would handle it. That's why when I put on my website, or when I send information out to people regarding what I do, Akashic Records, I explain that, or I try to as best I can. And if they're not sure, I'm very open, and I try and explain as best I can. What I get from spirit is what they're meant to have, they're meant to know, and then their questions will be answered. And I've had a few that obviously didn't really do their research, and they wanted more past life information, or they wanted just, how many past lives did I have? What, you didn't tell me all about these past lives. And it's like, it's not up to me to tell you. It's what your soul, what your spiritual team wants you to know, what you need to know at this time to help you in your life, in your journey to move forward. And some people are not ready for that, and then I question, okay, so then why were they guided here to me? But I think some of it was for me as a test, a lesson or a learning thing for me.
Thank you. Nora, I know Reiki is a little bit different.
Yes.
When they come to you for spiritual healing, how do you balance the wants that they want versus the needs that Spirit says they have to have?
Reiki is quite a different form of healing compared to what the Akashic records are. The Akashic records are a very sacred place, and Reiki is very sacred too, because Reiki is spiritual energy that flows from the divine into the facilitator, which would be the Reiki person, and then the energy flows into the person's body. So their expectations are a little bit different than what they would be with Carol Ann. Their expectations are to be more calm and more relaxed, and to also receive a different type of healing that starts with their auras and their chakras and works down and around their body. And depending, they might think that they might need healing here in the heart chakra, and it's the base chakra that needs it. So it depends on where Spirit tells me to go to direct my hand. So I will start off by doing certain things, and then Spirit will say, no, you're going to stop here, and I would like you to focus on this section. So mine is more of a chakra and what Spirit tells me basis to do. And then when I'm done with my client, then I'll sit and I'll talk to them. And if I receive messages as I'm going along, I will let the person know about the messages that I'm receiving. So it's similar, but it's different. And they're both very sacred. They're very, very peaceful, and they are very restful in this. We play beautiful, soft music in the background, and the person can sometimes fall asleep when they are getting their treatments. But this, like, figuring out what their wants are and what their needs are, you let divine lead you, because they will get what they need, and eventually the person that is receiving the Reiki will realize, oh yeah, I guess I did need it here. By the time you're done, they will know, oh well, yeah, I thought it was my heart that needed it, but it turns out it's my base chakra. And they will feel more grounded, and if they are getting a fairly good amount, sometimes they have when they go home, they have a few bathroom issues from it.
Release, relax, let go, let God.
Yeah, release, relax, let go, and let God. And sometimes this happens during a treatment.
How can people get in touch with you, both of you, if they want any of your help?
Services.
Yeah, your services.
I have a website. It's spiritualgalsplace.weebly.com. And then I have my Facebook page, which I guess if you type in Akashic Spiritual Gals Place.
Okay. Nora?
And I have a website. It is Ascensions Reiki by Nora.weebly.com. And I also have a Facebook page, and it is Ascensions Reiki by Nora. And you can just type in Ascensions Reiki, and it should come up automatically for you.
No.
And our information is on those two.
Okay. One big question that people may be wondering: do they have to be present to have your services?
For me, no. I do, what I do a lot is people would send me, I send them an information page, PDF, via email or whatever other form there was. And then I ask them to send me a picture of their face with their eyes open, with their full legal name and their questions. And then I basically tell them when I can do the reading, and when I'm done with the reading, I email the whole reading to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I give them the opportunity to ask questions for clarification afterwards.
Okay. Nora, can Reiki be done long distance?
Reiki can be done long distance, because it will be an immediate response, because once Reiki starts, it immediately goes to where you are needed. This is a really important thing to know, because sometimes let's say you're somewhere, you're traveling, and you feel that you need a little bit of spiritual help, then you just go and contact me through my web page or my Facebook page. I do have PayPal on there, and Carol Ann has PayPal on hers, and I can send you Reiki, and it's usually immediate. And Reiki is a very gentle form of healing, and sometimes you will feel it and sometimes you won't, but it will be working. It is automatic. The minute that we start, it's automatic. And I usually, if I'm doing long distance, would like the person's picture, so that I can focus myself on their picture itself, and Spirit will tell me where to send the Reiki to, what part of their chakras or their auras that they needed at that time.
Okay. Just to wrap up now, give us your websites and Facebook pages again so our viewers can track them down.
Spiritual Gals. It's spiritual and then GALS place .weebly WEEBLY.com, and then it's Akashic Spiritual Gals place.
And mine's Ascensions Reiki by Nora .weebly.com. Now the name Nora is Nora. There's no H on the end of it. And then my Facebook page is Ascensions Reiki by Nora.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, ladies, for your time, and for our viewers, thank you for watching.